Hi, I'm Tiam here. Let's continue from where we left off. We are going to create some columns and some beams on the grid that we created before. First, we use the column tool, which will create columns of certain height. The column function expects us to place the columns on certain 3D points. For this case, we will use the snap function to snap to the end of the grid C1. We can go on to snap to other locations, but for this case, we want to stop here and give the column the correct properties. We end the command by using the return key, and the column property windows will be shown. Advance Steel comes with a huge catalog of different profiles. The user can select based on the type of sections, the standards, and also the sizes. Additional sizes can also be added to the catalog as well as user-defined sections. Next, we can change the positioning of the profile. Here, we can change the angle as well as the offset from the reference line of the profile. Next, we look at naming. Naming will be used in the generation of placemark. For this case, we have set the model row as column. We continue to create another column using the same procedure that we do before, this time for a rectangular hollow section. You notice that the system will remember the previous section that you used. As before, we will now select the type of section, the standards, and also the size for this rectangular hollow section that we need. Next, we will use the copy mechanism to actually copy our columns to the various grid locations. First, let us choose a new snap which is special with Advance Steel called the Steel on Snap, which we will choose the grid intersection. We select the beam that we want to copy, and from the tool widget, we will select the copy command. Just like a normal copy command, we select the base locations and to all other locations that we want to copy the beam to. And this time we will use the various snap option, including the grid intersection. Next, we are going to select the two columns that we want to change the orientation from the regular orientation that we have before. We right-click and select Advanced Properties. This will display the property dialog of the columns. We use positioning in the Properties dialog to change the angle of the column. When we change the angle, the graphics will update instantaneously. We finish up the column creation by creating the other columns for the rectangular hollow sections. Next, let's start creating some beams. But before we do that, let's take a look at our snap settings to set the appropriate settings for creating the beams. For creating the beam, the snap that I want to use is the snap to node. We use the beam creation tool to create beams along the top of the columns. Just like the column creation, after creating your first beam, the Properties dialog will appear for you to select the correct beam profiles for your beams. We use the same beam creation command as we did before, but this time we will string all the beams in one go. We've forgotten one more beam right across the middle, so let's create the last beam. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.